Okay, so I'm going to record the meeting so anybody who isn't here today will also get this. So if you don't show up, then make sure you view the recording, because that's the only extra thing I'm going to do, because I don't want to have to like write all these big long announcements and teach again through email or the announcement. So this is the easiest thing for me, is to teach live and then record it if you can't come. All right, so we walked through, everybody that was here on the first day, we kind of walked through the different features of this. You can make sure you have if you have the chat button open, you can send messages to one another. You can also send messages to me during class. We're just going to go over a couple things today. Let me. All right, so So I did make some adjustments to the calendar, and you should be seeing that on the screen now. So the quiz, let me talk a little bit about the quiz. The quiz was originally due, but some people took it, some people missed it, and they had to do the retake. So what I did was I deleted everybody's attempt except one person who actually had a good score. I opened up the quiz again. So it's actually due now on Wednesday. I changed the date in D2L, so when you log on, you should see in the calendar the updated dates for that. I haven't done everything yet, but I will be working on that this week. So the quiz you can take 2 times. So you could take it the first time, see how well you do. If you don't do well, you can take it a second time. The highest of the 2 attempts will be scored. If, for instance, you fail both times, then you can take the retake. So you actually have 3 chances to do well on this quiz. All right. The retake is actually due then on a little bit later. I have to change the date. It won't be due on Wednesday. It should be due next week. So I have to change this course calendar a little bit. The rough drafts for the summary response essay, I know a number of people turned them in, and if you turned it in before the break, I already gave you feedback. If you turned it in during the break, I probably have not given you feedback because I've been too busy trying to get everything worked out so that we could actually have class, and I had to change all my calendars. So if you have your rough draft, make sure you upload that today so that I can give you some feedback on it. And where you will upload it is week 6 submissions, rough draft summary response essay. So we are in week 6, and you'll put it in the week 6 submissions. The quiz is also under week 6 submissions. All right. The retake is a little bit later, I guess. I don't know where I put that. I have to move the retake to probably week 7. But for now, just worry about the regular quiz. Oh no, the retake is here too. It's just not open yet because you got to take the real one first. All right. So I promise, if you've turned in your rough draft, get them in today, I will give you feedback before Wednesday. So let me go back to the calendar. Okay. All right, so today I'm going to cover a little bit about citations, because you have to have citations. These are like your quotes, your indirect quotes and your direct quotes. You have to have those in your paper. And I'm going to cover information literacy. So those are our 2 things. So it's not going to be a real long class. but I do want to go over some of those points and then give you a chance to ask questions. The actual essay, the final version of the essay is due next Monday. So all of that is updated here in the course calendar. For Wednesday, you should read chapter 5, section 1, and work on the study guide. Okay, ignore the read and annotate the critical response essay. We don't worry about that yet. We'll do that on Wednesday. I haven't moved that around on the calendar yet. All right, so for today, you want to make sure at some point I get your rough draft. Make sure you take the quiz before Wednesday. Read chapter 5, section 1 for Wednesday. That's really all your assignments. Anybody have any questions so far?
No.
No.
Personal response essay you said was due when?
So the response essay will be due next Monday.
Okay.
So I've pushed that back a little bit. That shouldn't be hard for you guys because that really is exactly like the essay we did in 091. So what you want to make sure you do is have your introductory paragraph with the summary. And you guys drive me crazy sometimes with the summary part because you're still not putting in it begins by and then after that. So make sure you have the signal words built into your summary. All right, and so now's a good chance for me to try to do this. Let me see if I can actually do what I want to do and show you. All right, so you should see a whiteboard.
Not yet.
You see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So
Yes.
again, I discovered this. I woke up at 4 o'clock this morning and I figured out how the hell can I do this? So here we go. So I figured something out new. Now how to get back, there'll be a problem, but I'll figure that out. So remember, when you do your summary, there's a couple rules. No quotes. No specific details. That means no names, no dates, etc. All right, and then you want to use your signal words. The author begins by, and then whatever comes after that, you have to have ing, ing. The author begins by describing, or by writing about, or by explaining, etc. Then he, so we want to change it up. Sometimes you use the word the author. Sometimes you use he. Well, does anybody remember the author's last name by any chance?
Carr.
Carr. Okay, thank you. After that, Carr. And then you can say at the end, the author concludes by. All right. That's the summary portion. Before that, of course, you have, and I probably should have written it above that, but before that, you have your sentence where you have the author's name, the date, the article name, the source.
That's not showing up on the whiteboard.
Oh, because I'm probably it's too high. All right.
Oh.
I got it.
Okay, some people have it, some people don't. Okay, I don't know if you can make it bigger, Alicia. I'll write it down here too.
Oh, I see it. I see it.
You
There
got
was
it at the
something-
top?
Yeah, there was something in front of it.
All right. So author's name, date, article name, source plus main idea. And that should be like ideally one sentence. Then you have your summary section. No quotes, no specific details, using those signal words. And then you have your thesis statement. Now remember, this is a response essay. So you're basically saying whether or not you agree with the author and what you agree or disagree with. So let's take an example. The author was absolutely correct when stating that people are too distracted by the internet. Point number 2 and point number 3. So you want to have probably 3 pieces from that article that you're going to say you agree with, or that you disagree with, or again, you don't have to do, you can do both. So here's how to do both. While the author was correct in claiming that people are way too distracted, he is not correct when stating that, and then that, X. All right, so that's both agree and disagree. This would be agree, and of course, disagree, you would do sort of the same thing. You would say the author was absolutely wrong in claiming that. So as a response, you need to state what the author says first. Then you bring in whether or not you're agreeing. Now the rest of the paper will talk about this, and the first one. All right. Now, whatever order you have in, if this is number 1, that's number 2, that's number 3. Whatever order you have it in, that's the order you have to cover in your paper. So paragraph number 1 would be too distracted. The next, or that's paragraph number 2 actually, because the introduction is the first paragraph. Paragraph number 3 would be talking about number 2. And paragraph number 4 would be talking about number 3. And your last paragraph is your conclusion. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So I'll pause here. Who has some questions? Okay, so can I take this off the screen? Do you have you got everything down that you need?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. There's more for me to see if I can do this. And oh, it worked. Okay, cool. I just have to figure out how to reclaim the host. All right, so reclaim host. How do I do that? Oh, there we go. Now I'm back. Okay. All right. So that's the first thing. So the rough draft, and some of you did this in the rough draft and you did a pretty good job. Others didn't do it quite as much. Remember, we have to have, let's talk a little bit about citations. You have to have some kind of quotes. Now, you don't have to have direct quotes. It's easier if you don't have a direct quote. It's always easier if you paraphrase. What information do you need when you were actually paraphrasing?
The author's last name, the date the article was written, and the paragraph that you're quoting it from.
Almost good. You do need the author's last name, and then you need the date, and that's it.
Oh.
So let me go back.
Oh, you asked me for paraphrasing, didn't you?
Yes.
Wrong one.
All right, so for paraphrasing, remember you have your sentence, and at the end you have your parentheses. You have the author's last name, so it would be Carr, and he's what's the year? 2019? No. Well, just do 2017.
2010.
2010.
2010.
Okay, got it. I can't remember these things. All right, so Carr 2010. Remember, now the period goes on the outside. All right, don't put the period on the inside, put it on the outside. That's for a paraphrase. If you want to have a direct quote, what's the only difference?
The paragraph.
Correct. So you would have whatever, you have your sentence, and at the end, you would have to have Carr, comma, 2010, comma, para, P, and let's just use 3, and your period on the outside. And remember, you can do this any number of ways. You have to have 3 things. You always have to have an A and a B. We have A and a B. For a direct quote, you have the added feature that you have to have the C. All right, so direct quotes always have A, B, and C. Indirect quotes, you have to have the A and the B. It doesn't matter where in the sentence you have it. It could be anywhere in the sentence. Oh, look at her cat. Or is that a dog?
That's a dog.
A little dog. Oh, God.
The dog.
Danielle. See, yell. I would. A little dog. I can't show you mine. He's like snoring away on the floor here. He's too big to get on my lap. Okay, so this is what I like.
Her, the size of her dog.
A yapper. Let's bark a lot. There's another one. So we got. I'm
Yeah,
sure at some point my cat will join us.
Oh,
Loves to be on my desk.
so cute.
So let me give you an example of a sentence where we start with the author's name. So remember the rule. We need, this is not a direct quote because we don't see quotation marks, right? We need an A and a B. Do we have that?
Yes.
Correct. We have A and we have B. And that's all we need because it's in direct quote. So the difference is, I wonder if I have a, yeah, I do. So the difference between this one up here and the one down here is that the parentheses, the date comes after the author's name. And that's the thing to remember. You have the date always after the author. Date after the author. You could do exactly the same thing for a direct quote. In his article, what's going to go here?
The pair.
Paragraph number.
You got it. Very good. Excellent. Because you have to have A, B, and C. And there's a space between the period and the three. It doesn't look like it on here, but there's a space. All right. So if you have this in your rough draft, you have your quotes. I can look at it and then can correct them for you. That'll be a way for me to give you feedback. Questions? Does everybody have it so I can remove it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's go back to D2L. Oh, who's coming? Sharonda. Hi, Sharonda. Oh, her audio is still joining. Give her a minute for our audio to kick in and I'll start the next thing. So let me, while we're waiting for Sharonda, her audio to kick in, because I can see it's loading and connecting. If, for instance, you have kids at home and they're yelling and fighting and screaming and you don't want us to hear it, the easiest way to do is to mute your microphone. That'll cut down any of the background noises. If you don't have that problem, it's all right. You can always leave it open. Just remember, if you need to ask a question, unmute your microphone or we won't hear you, right? In that case, you can always use the chat box for getting the information across. All right, so she's not kicking in, but that's okay. We're going to move on. So I'm going to go over what we call information literacy. The next paper that you do, you're going to have to look for an extra source on your own. And there are a number of places you can use and look for your sources, but we need to figure out what is the best way to come up with a source, and what would be a good source and what is not a good source. So on D2L, there is a section on information literacy. You don't need to open that up right now because I'm going to take control of that for you.
Am I on? Yes? No?
Yes.
You see me? Hear
No.
me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Okay, that works for me. All right, Donna's trying to get on too. I'm gonna tell her to do it again.
Okay, yeah.
This is weird.
Oh, the YouTube is.
Okay, is everybody else on?
Not everybody, but a lot of people are.
Okay, it works.
Did Donna try calling me on the phone?
She did. She said she sent you an email and she tried to call.
Yeah, I couldn't. I didn't.
Yeah, I'm telling her to try again.
Okay.
Because I tried like 4 times and it just connected this time.
Okay.
I hope everyone is well. Where's my stuff?
Okay, so let me go back to sharing my screen. There we go. All right, so there we go. So I'll share a screen. All right, there we go. So I'm going to show this little short video. You have it as well, but don't play it because then we're going to hear all the different sounds. It's going to be kind of.
Okay.
But you can look at it later.
Searching for information sometimes seems like opening floodgates. It can be an overwhelming experience, and you may feel overloaded with the vast amount of information that exists. So how do you find what's relevant to you? To sift through so much data, you'll need to develop your information literacy skills. By the end of this video, you'll learn what information literacy is and why it's important, how you use information literacy in your daily life, and how to use information literacy skills as you go through college. According to the American Library Association, an information literate person must be able to recognize when information is needed and have the ability to locate, evaluate, and effectively use that information. But we also can visualize it in simpler terms. Information literacy is a way of defining and thinking about the research process. It's a life skill needed for college and beyond in your professional and personal life. And above all, it's a process. It takes time to develop and hone these skills, but with practice, you'll be well on your way. While there are many ways to think about information literacy, it still can be a tricky concept to grasp without tying it into some aspect of your own life. You've probably used information literacy skills many times without even realizing it. Think about an instance when you needed to figure something out. Perhaps it was as simple as trying to make the perfect grilled cheese sandwich, or more serious, like considering what type of job to apply for. In both cases, you follow certain steps to achieve the goal. Let's break down what each situation looks like. If you want to know how to make the perfect grilled cheese sandwich, you gather information from a variety of places. You may start by reading recipes online, as well as reading others' reviews of recipes. You might ask your friends or family for cooking tips, or possibly peruse cookbooks. Seeking information in each of these places gives you a foundation for starting your recipe. You may find that this effort yielded enough information, or you may have to gather more details and tweak your recipe until it's perfect. Say instead you're trying to find a part-time job while you're in school. Using information literacy skills in this case means you start by establishing which companies are hiring and reading job descriptions. From here, you narrow jobs down based on your qualifications. Then you research a company so you can tie that knowledge into your cover letter. These steps help to build a strong foundation for an eventual interview before you even apply for the job. These examples required knowing what information was needed, accessing and evaluating that information, and effectively using it to reach a conclusion. As we've mentioned, developing information literacy skills is a process, but it's one that you can master with practice. Here are 5 simple steps you can follow to enhance your information literacy skills. First, know your information need. Consider an assignment's requirements when choosing and focusing your topic. Do you need general or more in-depth information? Did your professor say you only may use peer-reviewed scholarly articles, or are articles from trade journals and newspapers acceptable? Second, access the needed information. Know when to use the library catalog, article and reference databases, or the internet to find and retrieve print and electronic books and articles, web pages, and other documents. Talk to your librarian or professor to discover what resources are available. Third, examine information sources critically. Is the information you found relevant to what you need? Evaluate it for its accuracy, currency, reliability, and point of view or bias. Fourth, use information effectively to accomplish a specific purpose. Select the information you'll use in your final assignment. Make sure you organize your ideas and analyze whether you've answered your research question. And finally, use information ethically. Always give credit to the sources you use in your assignment. Even if you're paraphrasing or summarizing an idea, you must cite it in your work. Doing so will help you prevent committing plagiarism. It may seem like a challenge to develop your information literacy skills, but with a little practice, you'll be on your way to success. Librarians are especially good at finding useful sources, but a recent project information literacy study found that 80% of college students never bother to ask for their help. Always remember that librarians and professors are here to help if you get stuck along the way. You now should be familiar with what information literacy is and why it's important, how you use information literacy in your daily life, and how to use information literacy skills as you go through college.
So in short, information literacy simply means finding the appropriate source. And there we go. Finding the appropriate source and knowing, is it going to be, good or not? So we're not going to, for the first paper, you can do something really simple. You can simply go to the internet and look for some information. I'm going to talk about the next paper on Wednesday, so we'll talk a little bit more about that. But there are some other links on D2L that you can look at on your own. Under information literacy, there are some reference videos which talk about some various aspects of information literacy. I would look at those. They're done by a librarian. They're probably not the most exciting videos in the world, but they serve the purpose, okay? There's also a PowerPoint that goes through the various steps of information literacy. That's available for you as well. It shows you like how to look for something on the database, but we're not going to be using the database for this first essay. Then there is a handout called the CRAP test, and that's what I'm kind of going to be looking at in a minute. I'm going to show you some examples of what this means. CRAP means currency, relevant, authority, accuracy, and purpose. And if you look at it, a lot of this is the same thing as critical thinking. Relevance, accuracy, those are all, parts of critical thinking that we've talked about in the course so far. You want to make sure that the information is current. That means 5 years or less. So you don't want to have anything that's older than 2015 because then, things have changed. It's not really the most current. Obviously, for relevance, you want to have something that pertains to your topic. When we say authority, what makes the author good? Why is the author credible? Why should we believe the author? And purpose, we're talking about, the reason for the information. You have to be careful because sometimes, like you go to websites a lot of websites are there to sell something. They're really not there to give you information. IQ, there's a lot of like intelligence test that you can take online. Well, obviously, you take the intelligence test, you don't do really well, and lo and behold, at the end, you can purchase their program to help boost your intelligence. So you have to be careful of a lot of those things. Okay. How can I move this? So do you see the handout? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. So I want to go through this so-called CRAP test and then show you some practical examples. This handout is on D2L. I put it on there for you so you can look at it maybe at the same time if you want. I don't know how you can try to do it. It's at the bottom. It says English 101 Cook Handout.
Let's see. Oops. Oh, Lord, I figured this out.
So you might be able to download it. You would have to use the 3 dots at the top and download it. But I don't know if you can do it and see the video at the same time. I have no idea.
We'll figure it out together.
One of these mysteries here. All right, so I'll keep it on the screen here and work from my screen, and then later you can also work from yours, or if you can get it at the same time, that's fine. So when we're talking about currency, remember, we're talking about how current is it? Is it new? Is it accurate? All right, so these all have hyperlinks that should work. It might take a minute to load. I tried them this morning. There we go. All right, so here's where it's best if you have it on your screen, because then you can move it yourself, but I'll move it around. So when we talk about currency, we're talking about how relevant is it. Now look at this. At the top it says donate to ProPublica. So this is a website that's going to be for a particular group, and it's trying to sell something. But we're going to look at this. How old is this article?
2017.
All right, 2017. So it is what we say current. Okay. Now, if you didn't have the 2017 there, not every article, if it's a website, they don't always have a date. How could we figure out that this is current?
Print it. Hello?
You hear me?
No, you disappeared. And who is this?
Dr. Cook?
Who is who? Oh, I see you again.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So the question is, if 2017 were not here,
Mm-hmm.
how could you figure out how old this article is?
Maybe content within the article.
Ah, for instance?
George W. Bush final 2 years. I don't know.
Yeah, or, well, that would be too old, actually.
George. Oh yeah, because that's the dad. Okay.
I don't know if you can see my cursor, if that's moving, is it?
Oh, yep, it is. Trump administration.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
So we have Trump administration. That tells you it has to be within the last 3 years.
Mm.
All right. So just because it doesn't have a date doesn't mean you can't figure out around what year it is. It might not be perfect. This might have been last year for all we know, but we know it couldn't be any older than 2017 because that's when he was inaugurated. Make sense?
Yes.
All right. Let me go back. We go to the second link there, the second article.
Not like this. Oh, what did I just do?
So we're going to click on this. If you can open it up on your own, it's the one that says a decade of homelessness. It's the second link on there. They take a little while to load. Come on.
Mine's just turning.
Thank you. Stupid computer.
While it's loading, hi everybody from class.
If
Hi, Sharonda.
this ever comes up. All right. It probably doesn't want to do it while there's a video. Like I tested them this morning and they were all fine.
Oh, okay.
And of course now I can't get out of it. Exit.
Technical difficulties.
Which is going to be expected.
Yeah. I was trying to get on since 9:15. I don't know why I couldn't get in.
Did Donna make it?
I don't know. I was texting her on my phone.
Yeah, I don't hear her.
Okay.
Okay. So when we get off, you know, maybe look at some of these because they're actually pretty good. I'm going to try. Let me try one more and see if it's going to work.
Okay. Oof.
There we go. All right, so that one works.
High blood pressure and diabetes.
All right, so when we're talking about relevance, who would this be for?
Diabetics.
Okay, probably people who are diabetics or soon to be diabetics
Or
wanna be
borderline.
diabetics, right?
Or family with diabetes.
Look at the source. It's WebMD. Who's that really written for?
Doctors or medical professionals.
So look at the words in here. If you look at the text a little bit.
Hyperglycemia.
Does it seem super technical?
No.
No. So WebMD is actually for us. It's
Patients.
for patients. It's for anybody who wants to know about medical. Now, this is not to replace for a doctor. Like you shouldn't just go to WebMD and you know listen to everything that they say because you always want to consult a doctor. But it is written for the general public. So if you have a condition, you can then go to WebMD, put it in, and you read about your condition. All right. Versus we'll go to the next link.
Hyperglycemia.
There we go. Almost there. So I guess this is the one thing we'll just have to. I won't have many things with links on it. Obviously, they take a little while too long to load. The hyperglycemia one, though, when you read that, looks like it's almost ready, is pretty technical. So that's not written for like the common person. That's actually written for medical students or for doctors. So WebMD, when you look at the language, WebMD is like really simple, written for the common person, where this article is actually written for medical professionals because it uses a lot of medical terms. So that would not be something that would be relevant to our purposes. We would want something as simple as WebMD. I'm not going to waste any more time trying to look for that. There we go. So. Okay, so that's the way. All right, let me get out of this again. All right, so kind of look through that on your own, just so you have an idea of what would be a good article and what would not be a good article. I'm going to tell you what to look for when it comes time for the actual paper. All right. Are there any questions?
Well, I have a few, but I might have missed it. You may have already gone over it.
Yeah, so, well, I'm going to end in a few minutes. Sharonda, why don't you stay on?
Okay.
And then I can go over everything with you that, answer all your questions individually.
Okay,
So,
great.
can someone recap what do you need to do today? Oh, you have to unmute yourselves.
Like homework?
Yeah,
Chapter 5, Section 1 in the
Okay,
study
so-
guide.
correct. So number 1, for Wednesday, you should read chapter 5, section 1 of the study guide, correct? All right, what else?
Our paper, the personal response paper is due Wednesday.
The summary response rough draft is due today. The rough draft is due today. The paper's
But the
not due
finals due Wednesday.
Monday, next Monday.
Okay, one second. So just for clarity, you said the summary
Oh, yeah, you're right.
response. I'm
I
sorry,
know.
go ahead.
I know I'm right.
Okay, you said the summary response final.
Is due next Monday, but we'll come back to you, Sharonda, at the end.
Okay, I was just writing as she was talking.
Okay. What else? We have one more thing that you really have to do before Wednesday.
The quiz?
Yes, you're going to take the quiz. Now remember,
Quiz.
that good old quiz you could take 2 times. The highest score will be counted. If you fail both, you can take it a 3rd time. You can take the retake.
And can you say when is that has to be taken by?
By Wednesday, but beginning class.
And okay, normal 8 o'clock.
8:30.
And is that it's going to be a link or something online?
Yeah, it is on. It's already on D2L.
Oh, okay, great. 8 o'clock, because I know me. 8 a.m. Since we'll be locked in the house.
Well, let's not put it that way.
Y'all might.
That makes it
Still got a job to do.
makes it sound so daunting. Locked in
I'm
the
trying to figure out who is going to be allowed out.
Okay, so if there's no other questions and you guys know what you're doing, the quiz, the rough draft, if you haven't turned in your rough draft, some of you have already, and read chapter 5, section 1. Look over the information literacy for me, just so you kind of go over those links and we'll make sure they work. Any other questions? All right, well, I think, is this doable, you think? Okay, so hopefully, I know not
So
everybody.
I like it. I enjoy it.
Yeah, I can make it work. I mean, it's almost like we're in class. We're just on the computer.
Yeah, and I think I can do just about everything that I would do in class, you know, with the whiteboard and et cetera. So it'll work. I think this is better than if you're just kind of going on your own.
I do too.
Mhm.
All right. So anybody, if you don't have questions and you know what you're doing, you can log out and I'll see you Wednesday. Anybody who has questions, I know Sharonda, you have a couple, you can stay on and I'll work with you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, have a good day.
You too.
Yeah.
Hang on there, Sharonda, okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm staying on.
All right.
Hi, Amber. Look, she popped up.
Bye.
See you Wednesday.
All right.
Dr. Cook,
Yes.
all I want to say to you is that yesterday when I emailed you and texted you, I emailed you after I texted you because I didn't think you would get my text. So I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to be.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
I just knew it was out of your hours.
Yeah. I'm trying to check on my problem right now is trying to get everything. I was actually going to go live with my sister full time, but I can't do that. There's no way I can do that.
Without killing her?
I don't blame you.
Honestly, yeah, without killing her, without killing my mom. I know she needs help with my mom because my mom, you know, really is challenging. But I have everything here. Like I have all my toilet paper, I have all the food, I got the dog, I got the cat. I can't be leaving with all that. Like there's no way. So I'm gonna break the news to her today that I'll be there Wednesday night or Thursday to Saturday or Sunday, and then I'll be back here because she's got terrible internet. I can't teach from her house because it'll never work. So
Yeah.
that way I'm half the time there, I'm half the time here. You're allowed to travel between houses, so that should work. All right, Amber, you good?
All right, Sharonda, he's all yours. Bye, Dr. Cook. See you Wednesday.
Thank you.
See you, honey. Bye-bye. All right, Sharonda, go ahead. Shoot. Well, not shoot, but.
Okay, so I just jumped in when you were going over the information literacy. So what did I miss like the first 30 minutes because I couldn't get on?
Okay, well, we talked about the, and I've recorded this, so you can actually watch the whole thing. I'm gonna upload the recording to this today.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay, so you should be able to see everything that we did up to this point. What other questions do you have though?
Okay, as far as our classes, like we're going to be doing this every Monday and Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
If I missed a session, like a login,
Mm-hmm.
will it be recorded each time or just this one time you did it?
No, I think I'm going to record it every time because like there are some people I haven't even heard anything from them. Like I'm a little worried that they're just going to fall through the cracks. So
I can't allow that to happen with me.
and that's why I want to really touch base, but I am going to record it.
Okay.
Each time.
I was just wondering, but you'll know in advance if I'm unable to like join, like if Wednesday was coming and I could not join, I would still do the same like if I wasn't going to be in class. Like send you a message so you would know.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so study guide, I have all of that. I had a question about my rough draft.
Sure.
I printed it out once you had marked did your revisions, and it was bleared, almost like it bled or ran together.
Okay.
I printed it from two different things.
Okay.
But the main section that I was really trying to get clarity on, and I have it here in front of me, was this is hard, I will say, but it challenges me. So I feel like I'm learning. The part about my feet.
Wait, give me a second. I'm going to pull it up.
Okay, thank you.
I'm actually going to stop recording this now since this is a conversation between us.
Okay, great.
Like the rest of the class doesn't need to hear, so let me just end